Of course, on this Thursday, even though it is still kind of a holiday week, yes, we still have Bishop's Corner this week.
Gotta love it. Always have more questions for the bishop, and the bishop is willing to answer them and also pick a highlight question of the week.
Yeah, like this one from this afternoon's program.
And let's go right to Susan in Sandusky. Dear Bishop Thomas, I always get inspired by the Christmas readings and hearing about the gifts of the three wise men of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Is there any significance for these particular gifts being given to baby Jesus in the manger? Thanks, Susan.
Beautiful, Susan. Thanks for the question. And with you, I too get inspired by the Christmas readings. Aren't they enriching? Even though we hear them over and over again. And isn't that part of the ritual of the church that every year we can derive new meaning and grace from these beautiful readings? So good for you too. And the three wise men, now I have to ask Ron a question, Susan, because the tradition and custom of the church, even though it's not in sacred scripture, the church actually names them in her tradition. And even, we're here on January 2nd in the new year, and very often people do a New Year's blessing. They ask the priest to come and bless, and there are crosses and letters above the door, the lintel. Ron, what are the names of the three wise men?
You know what? There was a day I knew that. But, I'm older.
Susan, aren't you disappointed with me? So, Ron, we'll give you, we're going to give a clue here. Ron,
why aren't we
the letters are C, B, and M. There's the clue.
Oh, I'm still not going to get it. Will the studio audience get that?
My goodness. Well, we're just going to have to press ahead because of time. So, Casper, Balthazar, Melchior.
That's it.
Ron.
That's it.
Thank you for playing.
Those are it.
Here's your parting gift.
I will confirm those.
So thanks for allowing us to have fun, Susan. So back to the simple answer. Of course, anywhere you go, you can find this, but this is from the very beginning of Reflections on Scripture. So each of them has a symbolic meaning, and the frankincense, of course, was used for worship in the temple. It's symbolic, of course, of Christ the high priest and of worship. Gold is the symbol of Christ the King, so his kingly nature, that's the gold. And myrrh was a perfume, and in honor, if you will, and I'll mention a few other things, of his divinity, and of his humanity, and therefore myrrh would also have been used to anoint the bodies in death. So it's symbolic of his death as well. Now, of course, some will say that this came from Isaiah 60:36. Some will also say Exodus. They'll quote Exodus. If you look at the Catechism, for example, St. Irenaeus talks about the gifts and what they signify. So the Catechism, go to the sources, Susan, 115 to 119. And that's really where I would send you specifically. But this was something that this was something new that I learned, if you will. And that is that Pope St. Gregory the Great says in his homily on the Gospels that the three items represent gifts we are to present to God in our daily lives. Gold is Christ's wisdom, which is to shine in our lives, so we present back the wisdom of Christ to the Father. Frankincense is our prayer and adoration that we give to Jesus. And myrrh is our daily sacrifices given to him in time in preparation for his passion, death, and resurrection. So lots of symbolism around these wonderful gifts presented to the Christ child.
Wonderful. Thanks, Bishop.
Thank you.
Can't wait to hear the entire show. That's right, in its entirety this afternoon, right after Say Yes to Life, which comes on at 4 o'clock, then the Bishop's Corner at 4:30. Dave, we ought to just, for our teasers, we ought to just play Ron Miller asking the question and then not play the answer.
Yeah, right. Or the bishop asking Ron questions. Now, if the other Ron was sitting in, which would have been you, would you have gotten those three names? Melchior,
well,
Gasper,
of course
Gasper,
not.
No, I don't think.
I would
look,
not
I
have.
think I know them in the back of my mind, but if someone asked me that off just the top of, no, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
I would recall that it's an MCP because of the blessing, but I would have a very difficult time bringing up all three of those names. Balthazar would have been the one I would have remembered.
Yeah, same. I think I would. That's the one I would have forgotten, probably.
Oh, okay. Melchior.
I think it's great that he gave Ron a lovely parting gift.
Yeah.
All right. Listen to Bishop's Corner at 4:30 this afternoon here on Annunciation Radio. And we've got more to come here on Morning Offering with Ron and Dave. Stick around, please.